Hello, everyone. Hopefully everyone is well. Let's make sure everything is working correctly. All kinds of people in the chat. So, we have had a long week of building the Orange Juicsa, which is a Prusa bare build. So basically, it's all the stuff from a Prusa Mark III with an aluminum extrusion 2040 frame. It has been a fun week. It was a really fun build. It's a great looking printer. We did get it calibrated. It is successfully pushing out plastic, so that's good. But by and large, everything is complete. Now I have Jimmy. I gotta stop. Jimmy has picked up a 24 pack of black shirts. That is a man after my own heart right there. So I don't know where I was with that, but so today the honorary Benchy will be printed. I have already sliced our Benchy file. I used the standard 0.2 layer height Mark III settings across the board, so standard Prusa stuff. So it should be identical, if not better, to what a Prusa printer can turn out. So that's what we're going to do today. Yes, you will be only getting 720 today because it's coming from StreamYards. I am testing out some StreamYards today. That's why you didn't get any elevator music at the beginning. So 720 today. But let's get it started, and then we'll try to get you in somewhat of a camera position that the print looks good to you, and we'll go from there. It should be pretty much ready to go here. We're using PM filament, orange PLA. That was the filament that that Prusa used to sell before they started making Prusament. So it's kind of close to a Prusa orange color. It's just a little bit lighter. Yeah, 720 shouldn't. We might get a little less lag this way as well. 720 shouldn't bother you too much. There's all kinds of cool people in here. And today, you know, the printing streams are always nice because I get to hang out with you a little bit more, follow a little closer in chat, and I don't have to build so much stuff. So there we go. I didn't change up really any of the settings. It is still on 9-point leveling, but we will have 7-point available to, or 49, I guess. 3 versus 7, that is available. I tidied up some of the wires. So Greg has designed all kinds of cool clips and things that you can use that go right into the extrusion to help you manage your cables and things. So I did do a little bit of that, but other than that, what you see is what you get. Hopefully we're successful today. You mentioned silicone heater sock. This one does not have it on there. I don't know what to expect. This is an LDO 5-volt blower fan. It should be exactly like Prusa. So I'm not expecting it to throw thermal runaway, but we will see. Worst case scenario. Of course, I'm getting a phone call from Florida. Hopefully that wasn't enough of Motorhead to trigger our monetization. Over your head when you talk. I'm over my head when I talk Linux. Walter calling. It wasn't Walter. Somebody said something about black smooth rods. I have seen colored lead screws. I don't know that I've ever seen smooth rods. That would be pretty sweet, though. I have seen the black lead screws. I think we're going to be successful first time out here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. We can do second screen with close-up for a while if you want. It's whichever you would like. The first couple of layers aren't all that interesting. Some of my initial filament is setting on my brim at the or my skirt at the moment. You can see that setting there, but it's not actually on the part. Tube mod for the MMU2? No, I have never heard of that one. Well, without the first layer, you don't get any other layer, right? Masumi has black smooth rods? Nice. I'll have to look at that then. It's really hard to get this thing where it looks level. There you go. Black rods would fit the overall color scheme. Orange rods. I would like to find somebody that would make me the orange metal plates. That would be pretty good. Orange metal plates and orange screws. That would really be awesome. James from Print and Play is here. What's up, James? The COVID-19 is fine here. There's a handful of cases in my area now, but we're doing okay. Clean them before you lube them. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. I don't necessarily do the insides. Like, if there's anything very obvious, I will try. But most of the time, I just pack them and go. James, no. Brushmere 3D, no. I have never heard of that mod. I would have to look at that and see what it was actually trying to do with that tube and everything. I'm not sure exactly how that would work. I'm sure it does, but I can't think of how it would work. What you're seeing is the blob that it had while it was heating up. It's setting on the skirt. It will be a lot more obvious when it gets a little bit higher. The benchy is not actually impacted. If it gets a little bit higher, I'll reach in there and pull it off for you. Thoughts on the Prusa XL? I really don't have any thoughts on it right now. I just got over the Mini, so I mean I think it'll be cool. I have faith in that they will turn out a pretty awesome product. They usually always end up turning out something cool. So we'll just see what it looks like. Right, not that there's much to have thoughts about. What's up, Travis? Yeah, James, send me a PDF. I would definitely like to take a look at it and see what they're doing. Mike, awesome. I'm glad you like the how-tos. I could probably get that skirt free. What's up, Larry? I'm definitely going to. So, Greg has made a lot of cool mod parts, the bear extruder, different X-axis parts to go along with this whole project. I'm definitely going to look into a lot of those. And it appears, I didn't even think about it until now, it appears that we did not cause thermal runaway, so we're good there. Yeah, as far as I know, that Prusa XL is going to be CoreXY. Yes, there by default on Prusa's profiles, there is Z-hop during retraction. The nice thing about the first thing that I see that's really nice about having the aluminum extrusion frame is modularity a word? You know what I'm trying to say if that isn't a word, but you can just put anything anywhere. It gives you a lot more access to different modifications if you would like to do them, because you can pretty much bolt down to whatever you want. But this gives us a lot of good comparisons now, right? There's a lot of good video content here because we can, put it up against a stock one. We can put it up against a mini. We can, do whatever we want and look at things side by side just to see how things are going to go. It should be a lot of fun. Don is here. What's up, Don? I didn't notice this until today, But this black power supply that I got from Prusa actually has a fan inside it. I didn't know that it did, but I heard it running. It's really quiet, but I just happened to hear it running today. Oh no, Richard, you let the smoke out. How did that happen, man? Chris Cable, it's funny because the Prusa Mini has built-in start code to heat it up to 170 or whatever, and then do the level and then stop and then heat it the rest of the way. But the Mark III doesn't. So I'm interested to see if that will become the new Prusa standard on their profiles. Yep, James, I got your message on Twitter. I'll take a look at it. So I'm interested to see if they head that way. That would alleviate that issue. The magic smoke can stay inside. It's awful hard to put it back. Terry, yes. I think high speed is what I'm after, right? So we should technically have more stability at this point. You're not going to get a whole lot faster at the, like the infill level, because these things are set. If you have a large part, you can get up to 200 millimeters a second. That board is not going to allow you to go much faster than that. But we'll see. Why is the Z-hop painful? Screw fell off the print bed while... Oh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Z-hop's good for you. Go, bitchy, go. Welcome, John. How's it going? It looks pretty darn good so far, I have to say. It does slow things up a bit, and it can also cause a little bit of stringiness in the right scenario. Raw Tech, what is up? Welcome to the stream. How do you use Z-hop without the vertical strings? You have to have a really accurate extruder. If you have a direct drive extruder that's fast and your hot end does not require a lot of retraction, like an all-metal hot end, where you don't have to pull on it so hard, you can definitely enable Z-hop without those issues. This Z-hop is 600 micron. Curmudgeon, no problem, man. We got it. It is PLA filament. That is filament PM orange, which is kind of close to Prusa orange. Because it's PLA, it's actually just a little bit lighter. Kenneth, Chuck's video has Z-hop. Chris Galatas here. Welcome, Chris. Has Z-hop in it today. Awesome. I have not checked that out yet, but I definitely will. I always try to watch all of Chuck's videos. There's always some good information in there. Are the Arduino products a dead end on this channel? No. I just haven't found any that I was going to line up and do. But as I find them, I do them. Ben Stanley is here. Welcome, Ben. Looking to get into 3D printing with the CR10 Mini, but wondered how many people have more than one and what do they do with them? Well, I'm kind of excluded from that mix because I just do testing basically. So that's most of the time, that's why I have multiples. But the CR10 Mini has been pretty good. From everyone that I've ever talked to that had one, they really liked it. So I don't think CR10 Mini is a bad choice. Richard, awesome. Thank you for using that link. I believe that is my first Slice Engineering sale. So I appreciate that. Red Light Mike is here. He's still at work. Hope you're having a good Friday, Mike. Actual Arduino servo coding. I don't know what you call actual coding. I mean, I've done servo projects where you had to tell it, what position to go in and all that good stuff. I'm sure you're probably talking about something more complicated than that. I have not done a lot of really complicated Arduino projects. What should you print extruder parts in? I would at least print them in PETG. All of these parts are printed in PETG. You might consider printing your fan duct in ABS or something a little higher temp than even that. This one has a PETG fan duct. We'll see how it goes. But we'll see how long that lasts. But I would at least do PETG. Where can I get cheap PETG? Inland brand PETG is pretty cheap. It's like $18. You can get that at Micro Center. ASA, does it really print like non-smelly ABS? So the problem with ASA, it's not really a problem, but it's the consistency. So going from brand to brand in ASA seems to be completely different. It doesn't stink as much as ABS, but it prints almost exactly the same. So it's a little easier to print than ABS, but not a whole lot. The front might be lifting just a touch. I needed just a little bit more squish. The shadow off of the plate makes it look a little worse than it is. but it probably has just a bit of gap underneath it. ASA warps, I would say, almost as bad as ABS. It doesn't seem to shrink quite as much, but almost as bad as ABS, I would say. It's pretty close. It has a little more interesting finish than ABS does. Like just to the touch, it feels a little bit differently. It doesn't feel like as, I wouldn't say brittle, but like, I don't know, it feels a little smoother. Yep, they're just steel rods and linear bearings. Rawtech, thank you very much for the $5. I appreciate that. Make your own printer. That's kind of going to be my next build. The next build we're going to do, which I ordered some more parts for it today. We're going to do an exoslide cube build, so that'll be a lot of fun. Andy, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. It is Friday, if that matters to anybody. Happy Friday. I don't know if it's that way anymore, but Micro Center used to ship your filament for free. It was like PLA was like $15 a spool at one time, and they would ship it for free. So there is that. So check into that. I don't know if PETG is getting to the point now where it's getting to be so common that it becomes more consistent, but that seems to be the way things go. The more common they are, the more we see them consistent brand to brand. I've had some brands that were just okay. Others couldn't, were printed pretty well. I've always had really good luck with IC3D PETG, but you have to print it pretty hot. Like I would say like 255 or so. If you try to go on the low side, it just doesn't seem to want to print. Yeah, it's as close to the Prusa color as you can get. It is PM brand filament. It's their orange color. It's a little lighter than Prusa orange. Yeah, Randy, I'm hoping that we see them catch up this year too. That would be awesome. They do make some really nice filament. You're 22. So the motors are running super hot. I mean, how, like, so hot you can't. So hot that you can't touch them. I mean, they're going to run somewhat hot. What color is the hatch over the sensor? So everything on here And Cromer, welcome to the stream. David, it's good to see you here. Everything on the printer is Prusa Orange PETG except the little lever that trips the IR sensor, and that is black PETG. I've had people tell me that they can run different colors on that latch to trigger the sensor, but I have had issues with anything but black, so I went with that. It is not a kit. So basically, to build a Prusa Bear, basically what you're going to do is you're going to buy a Prusa Mark III kit, and then you're going to buy an aluminum frame and put it all together. There's no kit for it. I did not do that. I bought the pieces one at a time. Terry, thank you much for the 2. I appreciate that. I bought all the pieces one at a time, and I will be putting together a BOM for the whole thing so you know where to get them. Yeah, this is the 6th live stream, but we didn't do any of the power live streaming like we usually do. I didn't do any long-winded ones. Almost everything was under 2 hours, and I think we went like 2.5 hours on one. So no layer shifting, but you can't touch the motors. There were a handful of things that I sourced from Prusa. I'm going to have to get a full list. I think I got the Y carriage from them. Of course, the power supply. I got all the smooth rods from them. The standoffs for the bed mounts, the spacer in between the Y carriage and the bed, I got from them. Trying to think what else. That might be about it. Probably 70% of this came from printed solid. I got Bondtech gears, fans. There was only a couple things that I had to go outside of that to get. The IR sensor kit, I ended up getting it from some reseller on Amazon. And what was the other one that was hard to get? We talked about it sometime this week. The IR sensor kit. Now I can't think of it. Oh, the springs for the extruder door. Those are kind of hard to find. I had to get some of those from AliExpress. But everything else, yeah, printed solid pretty much. Well, I'm going to work on the list this weekend. So, yeah, the power supply came from Prusa. This is one of the Prusa supplies that Delta makes. And I was going to reprint my power supply cover down here orange, but I forgot. Yeah, it's I would say noise level wise, it's exactly like a Mark III. Mike, I do intend to build a Railcore kit. I've got some things in the works, so I'm going to get to that. I don't know if there is any place to get a really cheap, a genuine V6. I don't know how cheap is cheap. I think you can get them for less than $60. Need to have some contrast over the orange. We'll always have a giant. I don't think I can get an orange build sheet. It looks pretty good though. I'm pretty happy with how it is right now. We'll try to the sleeving. Pete was saying that he had some orange sleeving. Might check that out, trade that out on there. That might be kind of cool, but. It looks a lot worse on camera than it does in real life. What's up, Gusner? This is directly from the Prusa site. This is their stable release right now. I believe it is 381. You would probably know better than me the numbers, but it's whatever they're running right now for the Mark III. The bow is just a little bit lifted. Oh, Gusner, by the way, I didn't see you the other night, but I printed out one of those things to go on top of the super lube for the cow. That thing works great. Thanks for that link. I appreciate it. Yeah, Thomas, I'm definitely going to get on and look for those black rods. That would be pretty sweet. You heard a rumor that when they go away from the top, after they sell out the top frame, they're going to go to extrusion. I don't know. It might be cheaper for them in the long run. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me that much. Yes, I am. This is the sheet we're printing on right now is a Prusa sheet, but in my hand that you can hear is that sheet, the powder coated sheet. So we're definitely going to try that out. Easier to ship. That is true. You can pack down extrusion a lot tighter that way. So that's good. Carl, you like that sound? There you go. A lot of times, yes. Most of the time, I will leave Z-Hop on by default, unless there is some reason that I'm trying to test something that Z-Hop might impact. I will just leave it on. It's safer that way. Well, depending on what machine. If your machine is accurate enough, you shouldn't have any problems. You bet I'm in my Magenos. I never change clothes. I'm just always in a black T-shirt. I just sleep where I fall down. Yes, it is really this quiet. It's just as quiet as a Mark III. Motorhead Mitch is here. What's up? Z-Hop. Oh, let me answer this other one first. But how do you know what links you need? You're guessing at that point. You can adjust them in the firmware. There are a couple of calculators out there to help you with things like cube printers, but I don't know about on a Cartesian. You're kind of guessing. Chris, I am messing with a lot of high temp stuff, but man, it is so hard to print. I still do hope to get some videos out on that. It has been a real struggle. I'm also kind of waiting for the weather to warm up because I'm not just fighting a cold chamber now, I'm fighting a cold room. So hopefully when it gets a little warmer, I'll have some better luck with what I've got. Z-hop helps with blobs and retraction settings. It can actually hurt you as far as retraction goes, and it's stringing. You will get some additional strain on certain types of parts if you have Z-hop enabled. But Z-hop will help you, like if you have distant parts, like you're printing a model that has two faces that are far away from each other while it's traveling. If you do Z-hop, you have less. You're not going to collide. It's just it's really hard for me to explain at the moment, but in the past you were pretty likely to clip the nozzle on something while you were printing. The machines now are so good you don't see that near as much, but that's what I just leave it on as more of a safety measure. After a couple of hours, I would have to compare it to my original one. I don't know how many hours I have on it, a lot, but I'd have to see. Gonna try to fit it on the AM8. Awesome. Nice. Zarvro, they flush them with IPA. Excellent. Where am I located? I am in the United States. I'm in Missouri, in Kansas City. See you later, Gusner. Thanks for stopping by. I have not tried polypropylene build plates. That would be handy on occasion, though. That would be pretty cool to have one. How's the Snappy project? The second Snappy is almost completely printed. I just haven't gotten around to building it. I had a few issues with a few of the parts because the SCAD portions of those files, when I needed to edit some of them, and the SCAD version is corrupted. So I still need to go back and try to fix some of those and get the last couple of prints done. Still working on it, though. Son went to the Art Institute there. Nice. I am north of the river. Oh, now the Vinci's loose. See how it looks anyway. It's funny because the first layer is really squished. So well, I guess let's clean up a bit. I don't know when the last time I used that sheet was. We did do the first layer calc last night with it, and it seemed to stick okay. Never jinx a print. You know, I don't know that I've ever used this side of the sheet. Maybe that's the case. Maybe I prepped this side better, because I don't think I've ever used that side. This one has definitely been used. This is the sheet that I printed that extruder filament on. That stuff sticks like glue. Somebody in the chat was saying it was it like had PETG mixed into it or something, but it's crazy sticky. It's running. The bed is running at 60. What is a J head? The J head is the old school type of hot end, the kind of the ones you saw originally. They have a different collar size. They're a lot longer. V6 kind of became the new standard. We got about halfway there. It looks really good though. Like I say, the first layer, it's got a lot of squish on it. Let's see how it goes. Bed temp for PETG, I use like 90. Like my there's some resonance that my screen doesn't like. The LCD lets out a little bit of a rattle. Any kind of museum? No, I don't have a museum. Well, it'll get that way eventually. That first layer has a ton of squish on it. So I'm pretty sure that's not the problem. The color printer is so loud it knocked the benchy off. Absolutely. My stepper fluid, my turn signal fluid. Anders, there is no reason why I'm not using 7. I just didn't turn it on yet. A King, thank you very much. I think it looks pretty snazzy. I'm pretty proud of this build. Greg did a great job designing this whole thing. What spool holder am I using? Everybody always asks about those spool holders. And I will put a link in the chat. It's a completely 3D printed spool holder, and there's a lot of different size barrels and arms and different things that you can use. If Thingiverse will cooperate, I will put a link in the chat. Seeing that first layer, I can't believe that it would have come off the build plate. But if it comes off again, we got something really wrong. Yes, we lost our main voyage. Benchy only made it halfway before it unstuck. I bet you that was thermal runaway. Yes, it was. Now, see, I've never had a problem with that before. This fan is an LDO 5-volt fan, but I'm pretty sure that's close to what fan Prusa uses. Let's go one more time just to see. This is how live streams go. Let's just try the old Thingiverse. Yeah, you're right. It didn't come up with all the results that I would have liked to seen. I doubt you can get to the old Thingiverse. It's kind of funny though that it would have tripped the second time and not the first, or tripped the second time and not the first time. It's thinking about it. Maybe it'll spit it out for us. Come on, Thingiverse, you can do it. All right, so if you're willing to wait for it to populate, you can get to that spool holder here. All right, let's see how we do on temp here. So we're already down to 199, 198, 197. Haven't recovered yet. 197. Oh, 198. $199. There you go. You still hit it. Yeah. I mean, we could PID tune it. It's supposed to be pretty close, but I'm guessing like the heater isn't snug enough or something of that nature. Something we did while we built it is what I'm guessing. You could do... You'd have to PID tune with the fan on, unfortunately. I guess we can go back to this since you're not watching anything. Let's just reset. Tear into it, huh? Let's just have a peek at it real quick. Everything looks nice and snug. Let's run it. Why not? Chris Travis, you're an hour late. That's okay. Touch it. All helpful. That's what you're using too? Nice. Yeah, tool change. If you don't know firmware, tool changer is going to be a bit of a challenge. You could get it though. I have faith in you. We could check the resistance. Yes, we could. I will not be checking resistance or anything like that on this stream. If it's not going to be a semi easy fix like a PID tune, we're gonna have to save that for another stream. This is, and remember, this is the these are Prusa parts. So the kit was designed for a Prusa replacement. So that throws a factor in there as well. But because of that, the stock settings when we loaded them from Prusa should have worked. But, you know, it doesn't always mean anything. Resistance is futile. When's the Gold Bear build? I don't know. I've got one more build I have to do. I don't have to do it, but I would like to do it before then. So we'll get to it in the next couple of months or so. These aren't necessarily the cheapest things to build. It is bright orange. It blows out the camera so much that it looks almost red. It is a Prusa heater. They're furnished by E3D. I don't know if they actually make them. They're furnished by E3D for Prusa. They are 40-watt heater cartridges. But also, that is an LDO fan that I'm using for a part fan. I don't know exactly who makes Prusa's fans, but it says Prusa on the back of the Prusa fans. Not that that means anything, but that fan just might be too good. Thank you, Corey Mack. Extruder assembly from Prusa, it's all printed. You would have to print it and just buy the gears and the motor. Let's try one more time. If we don't get it this time, I think we're gonna have to do it another time. You might get one more stream out of me yet. Yes, I could throw the silicone sock fix on. Any issue dragging the filament over the frame like that? It's actually probably a lot better to do it that way than it is to pull it from the top, because you don't have any backlash. Shouldn't be any issue, especially with Bondtech gears. It probably doesn't even notice. On the Two Tree Sapphire Plus, I don't know anything about that machine. Maybe chat can help us. Yeah, now if you have some sort of like reverse Bowden setup, where it's actually not pulling on the extruder head, it depends, how your printer's set up, of course. Where it's not pulling on the head, you're fine, because it's tugging on a spot on the frame somewhere. But if there's any chance of it doing that backlash motion, sometimes you can get interesting results. So you might try moving it just for fun. I do have a spare heater. That's your 40-40-10. That's that is for the hot end fan. The part fan is a 50-15. So here's the thing. This was being built. The only difference that I really wanted to put into this was the aluminum frame, because that's the question, right? Is the aluminum frame going to help? Is there going to be any advantage, and not even help your prints or help the quality or help speed? Not even that. Just, is there any advantage to just going up to the frame? So that was my intent. I wanted to take, without killing a Mark III kit, I wanted to take everything on the Mark III and just throw it on the frame and keep it as stock as possible. And I've already gone a couple of parts that weren't stock. The I didn't use the standard Noctua hot end fan. It's a higher end fan. It's a sun end fan, which definitely is kicking out more air. I am not sure as of right now what blower fan Prusa uses. And Prusa does not, by default, use a silicone sock. So if I threw the sock on, I'd be out of spec for what a Prusa kit would be. So I've made changes here. But I really would like to keep it as stock as possible, at least for the first couple of tests. Because there's a lot of bare parts as well. Like, again, I'm going to mention the bare extruder. It changes up how the X does a few things on this kit. I would like to try a lot of that out, but I'd like to go 1-for-1 as much as possible. So now, this time, we weren't making it to quite 199 before we threw the error. Now we're up to 204 after the PID tune. But it's really odd, though, that we made it through the first time. Unless we just got a bad part, which happens. Yeah, and that, I mean, I've got 3 of the Mark III printers. I've never had that happen once. No sock for now, until we figure it out. I like the socks, don't get me wrong. I really like the silicone sock. You know, on some of the Prusa printers, I put it on there just because it makes things easier if something bad happens. I dig it. I just don't want to put it on this one yet, because it's kind of a pinch fix. Big Guy UK, welcome to the stream. How is the Prusa Mini? It's doing awesome. I've got some really nice prints off of the Prusa Mini. Now we're almost back to 210. Mini's still in the box. It only takes just a little bit to assemble it. You got to get it out and start printing with it. What's the difference between Prusa's bed leveling and vanilla Marlin? Nothing as far as bilinear bed leveling. It's pretty much standard bilinear bed leveling on Prusa. Prusa has recently added the 7-point, where they used to only use the 3. But Marlin, you have a bunch of different options. You don't have to go bilinear. You can do unified. You can do the standard mesh if you want. So you have more options in Marlin. This is pretty much Marlin bilinear bed leveling. So not much different. They do control it with a little bit different commands, but that's about it. Yeah, the minis are slow to roll out. Take this one out of the base. I don't know. Once you look at it, you can't see anything else. All you can see is orange. So it might be a safety hazard. So pretty much at this point, we will have to tear into it and figure out if it is a heater or a thermistor problem or a fan problem. Like I say, we are definitely pushing out more air around the hot end. I'm very curious about that, though, because that's a common thing to do. So a lot of folks were having hot end jam issues with certain filament on this. And that was a common thing to do, is just to get a more powerful hot end fan. So maybe fixing one issue causes a little bit of something else. I don't know. See people drive around it. It is very trafficky orange, I have to say. John Smith, I don't think there's any difference in between print quality in the Mark III and the Mini. they're both pretty good. You saw it reprobe a print one of the probe points. Prusa does that, and I'm not sure what triggers that. Like if it sees it out of a certain amount of spec, it tries it one more time. I'm not sure if that's the case, but all of them do that, it seems like. And Marlin is getting more advanced, even that they will throw out, they'll try multiple times and then they'll throw the bad one out to try to get you a better average. So I don't know exactly on that. I know Marlin didn't do that, didn't do retries. I would have to dig into the code and see what it was doing. So we made it back to we're almost to 214. Is it cheaper and better than the Mark III? I don't know if it's any better. I know it's not cheaper. Manuel, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate the kind words, and sleep well. It would make a good video. See, there's the now we've come full circle. It looks better. It's got a lot more orange on it. We've maximized our orange amounts from the Prusa. Yes, now there's a way to toss out the bad reading. More orange, more Prusa. Exactly. I really wasn't intending this stream to last for a million hours. But when you fail prints, so the next step is if that PID tune fixed it, that's fine. I'm willing to work with that. But I definitely want to look into that fan. Prusa is the new orange. Nice. It does make for good troubleshooting. That is for sure. You could probably get the build down real cheap if you source the parts just right. You might be able to get it down in the 350 range. I don't know how good a quality print that would turn out, but probably decent. I have not noticed any artifacts on the Mini. They all look pretty good so far. Uh, everything that Slice Engineering builds is built and machined in Indiana, so all of it is local. I've honestly never been a fan of cantilever, but it's it works really well. I'm just glad that there's a printer out there like that that's at that price point. Now, if we could just get the production up, we'll be all set. Zachary 3D Prints, what's up? Overall cost of this machine, the BOM is coming soon. I hope that to get you a decent price, but of what what this thing costs, get really close to what I paid. I would guess it's probably around $1,000. Yes, the extruder stepper definitely helps to balance that out. Do I like cats? I'm definitely allergic to cats. I don't mind cats. Cats are fine as long as they're not close to me. What was the most expensive part? Um, so the frame was the most expensive part. The frames are around $130-$140, I think, maybe a little more than that. Uh, the V6 hot ends are close to $60, and if you buy one of these Delta power supplies from Prusa, they're $90. Also, I'm using an Einzi board, which you could really save a lot of money if you didn't buy an Einzi. The Einzi is like $110. So those are the big ticket items on this build. Yeah, the bed isn't cheap either. I don't Print and Solid, they give you a pretty good deal on those, but they're still kind of expensive, 50, $60. Derek Matthews is here. What's up? Yes, Tim, and that's a point that I forget to make sometimes. It is cheaper to buy a kit and a frame and put it together if you're doing a bare build than it is to self source, because it's just a better deal. So there is that. The first one didn't want to stick, so I'm guessing my bed. So I've never used the other side of this sheet. I've always used this side, and I was trying to use that side of the sheet, so it didn't stick and it came off. Second time I hit thermal runaway, which I'm not sure why I didn't hit it the first time. So we're on the third try. How's my frustration level? The frustration level with the printer is 0. This is by far uh, a minor problem when it comes to 3D printers. I just wish we wouldn't have had to set through half a benchy before our failure. But that's okay. Haven't done a noise test yet. That will be coming for sure. But it sounds exactly like the Mark III. Print quality looks real good. Bear Himera. The Bear is just a all-around good design for modding. Gives you a lot more options. So that'll be kind of fun at some point. Dan, no worries. The only upgrade for the Bear is that you switch out to an all extrusion frame, and it's all one piece as well. I mean, that not all one piece, but on a standard Mark III, you split the extrusions with a flat gantry, a 6mm aluminum gantry that you build on. When you switch over to the Bear, you get 2040 extrusions that run from corner to corner. So rigidity and flexibility about how you can build is what you're gaining from this build right here. You can take them a lot further with other Bear parts, but this is just a Mark III with an aluminum frame underneath it. I haven't heard anything further about PrinterBot's return. I know that they were talking about it, and I think that was the plan, but I haven't heard anything for quite a few months. So no, I haven't gotten any more information on it. Stig is here. Welcome to the stream. Rawtech, thank you again for the 2. Appreciate that. Yes, it is very quiet. So just for a test, I think I will measure some of those fans. That would be interesting either way, to compare them to some stock fans. Except on the lag table. Yeah, lag table kind of adds to your problem sometimes. sometimes because of the cardboard honeycomb that's inside there. Yeah, I'm using StreamYards today, so you don't get the audio portion. How long does it start to finish? It's like an hour and 40 minutes for a benchy. It says I have an hour and 11 minutes remaining. It turns the Prusa into a subwoofer. That's pretty much right. Crank it up. So that's the feed rate. So that's kind of a blanket speed setting. So if you crank up the percentage, it's going to try to increase the feed rate of everything about the printer equally to try to get you a faster print. Parts-wise, how different are the parts on a Prusa compared to something like an old school Winha i3? Well, I mean, so Prusa started to get kind of away from that model. If you go back and kind of look at the Prusa Mark I, you see a little bit closer to something like that. They started to get away from that model when they got into the smart stepper boards. Well, not really. They started getting into that before Mark II even. But you got away from that Mark VIII style extruder, which was a huge benefit. And Prusa's always been, big time riprap, so a lot of printed parts. So it's kind of the Prusa style and the old Wan Hao style, kind of night and day. Um, I'm guessing the other. So I use that other side of that sheet. I'm guessing that other side has never been cleaned more than what I cleaned it today. So it probably just wasn't ready for prime time. No, questions are always okay. I never mind. That's why I'm here. You want to go faster? Board might start skipping steps. There you go. We just started on the wheelhouse portion that's attached to the deck when we sped it up. So keep that in mind when we look at it. We've already failed twice. If this one fails, it's really no big deal at this point. Does it look like it's bowing a bit? I don't see any of that, but no, this one's PETG. I did print one in ABS. I have it standing by, but I thought I'd give PETG a try just for fun. How about cleaning a never-used sheet like that? So it depends. So if you have a powder-coated sheet, you really don't have to do anything besides clean it with alcohol, IPA. That's pretty much the only thing you're ever going to have to do. Now, if you have a smooth sheet, every once in a while, I like to go over it with like double aught steel wool, just to scuff it up a bit. And then if I'm going that far, I'll usually clean it with some acetone real quick, and then I'll clean it with alcohol. And after you get that done, it is nice and dry, and it has a good texture on it that will really make your parts stick a lot better. So if you have a smooth PEI sheet of any kind, I would go that route. I would not consider doing that on a powder-coated sheet, though. Any projects that you could use the parts from? Well, I mean, pretty much anything. The WAN house stuff, the only concern that I have is what kind of controller and screen they use sometimes, because some of those are proprietary. So if you got yourself a board and another screen, you could probably use all the motors and everything else for another project. There are some of the WAN house ones that use a thermocouple and amplifier instead of a thermistor, so you might have to get around that issue, but probably most of the parts are reusable. Yeah, some people, I've seen them wash with soap. That's not a bad route to go either. That's not going to hurt anything at all. So yeah, that's not a bad tip. Soap and water's good. Uh, I don't. Don, I don't know much about the Wham Bam sheets. I know that they use PEX, and then I think they have a PEI sheet now. They have a couple different ones. I don't have a lot of experience. All I can tell you is that I use PEI on a lot of machines, and I really like it. So somebody in the chat can probably tell you their experience with the PEX sheet, because I think that was the default sheet for a long time. But I like PEI stuff. Chad, print the back. Um, are you saying it will, or are you asking me if it will? I'm guessing those bars are probably really close to the same distance on the Wan Hao machine. It's this kinging sheet. Is that how you say it? Something like that? It will. Okay, so there you go. Chad says it will fit on there. Awesome. It's just a different. It's a quite a bit thinner sheet. You can get it from Printed Solid. They're thinner, but they are powder coated. I believe they're a little bit more affordable as well. Yeah, cleaning it, give it a try. I don't personally use PLA on the steel sheets, on the powder coated sheets. I like the smooth PEI sheets for PLA, but I really like the powder coated sheets with PETG. It just works really well. The mini E3 is fine. It seems to work okay for me. Sure, I can do that, Lenny. So you're setting it about a 0.4 on the king sheet, and you're at a 0.55 on the Prusa sheet. And would you like an audio test as well? Yes, millimeter. This is the king sheet, and this is the Prusa sheet. Definitely more bass on the Prusa sheet. So it is quite a bit more substantial. Yes. Let me find that question. I will take a stab at it. Well, that question always confuses me. So if you have a CoreXY that prints the correct dimensions in A and B directions, but off in X and Y, what would cause that? A and B. I'm going to say that that's a motor swap, right? A and B are at 45 degrees. So you mean it's so X and Y are in mirrored mode? Is that what you're saying? They're exact opposites? Hey, thanks for joining the stream. Good luck at work. Hope you have a good day. That's the directions the motor move when only one moves at a time. So there's a couple of different ways to lay out CoreXY. But I'd really have to sit down and think about that as far as as far as why X and Y would do that. Does your configuration, when you set it up, do you have do you end up flipping the belt over at some point to catch the other pulley? What printer is it? Is it the one that you made? Oh, we're talking about accuracy, not direction. Oh, okay. XY movement speed on this printer? I think it's like 180 or something. You talking about travel speed? I wouldn't even know what the actual speeds were with cooling on as it is. I would have to have that drawn out for me on a napkin to be able to understand exactly what's going on. My first guess, so I'm with John Smith, so my first guess would be that the carriage that's moving back and forth is not there. It's not at the same spot left and right. So just for instance, when you're all the way at the front, one side of it is just a bit further forward or further back. I think this one will finish. I don't know how good it's going to look because I turned it up to 150, but it looks like it looks pretty good. I don't know. Okay. Looking good so far. I think we're okay now. Marcus says, join the stream. I did cancel mine, as depressing as it was. How long does it take to install? I don't know. I think it takes 4 or 5 hours, maybe, if you're not doing it on a live stream, to build one. And it takes a while. It's going to take you a while after that to get it tweaked to start working correctly. But the build isn't so bad. Rooting for the benchy. Tom, the 3D Print Viking. I don't know if I said hey to you, but hey. The rail is jumping. That is Z-Hop 247 Hinky. It's all your fault. It's Cheeto Orange, huh, Tom? What's up, Tom? Yeah, Bill, I totally agree. I would not mess with the buffer. I would definitely find another way to deal with your filament spools. The auto winding spools are pretty nice, but sometimes that spring breaks. So, yeah, definitely find something different besides that buffer. It likes to squish filament? You mean like it eats it? It's actually cutting into it and smashing it? Really, though, I mean, that probably means you have some sort of tolerance off on those gears, like they're not cut deep enough. So really, your only recourse for that is to try to lighten up the spring on the door, back it off a little bit. But you might just have to try a different set of gears. Yeah, mine work pretty. The rewinders work pretty good for the most part. But I have tried a few of the different springs. Some of them work, sometimes not so good. It probably depends a lot on the plastic I used as well. Which of the 4 slots for what fans? Does 1.4 have 4 fan ports? Where is there a 1.4 board? Probe, servos, fan 0, fan 1. So you have in the lower left, opposite the fuses, you have that constant plug. Then you have an E1, E2 heater. I'm going to just take a stab and say that 0 is for your hot end fan, and 1 is for your part fan. I would have to go through I'd have to go take a peek at the Marlin config, Tom, to tell you which one's which. But I'm just going to guess that that's what those are. Fan 0 is part cooling, the only controllable port. Okay. Well, then there you go. On the 1.4, I was using the fan port as my part fan, and then I was using E2 as my hot end fan so that I could set it based on temperature. Lucio, welcome. Sean Butler, hello. Okay, Michael, I will. I can take a look at that. It looks pretty good. Pretty good. Correct. They have those steel sheets. That link might work. Give it a try. I don't know. They're kind of thin. I have not tried them yet, so we'll see. Rianu Keeves. I love it. This is Filament PM Orange PLA. Do I have one I recommend? I do not. I really like the actual Prusa sheets, but I understand that those are kind of hard to get. But no, I don't have one A lot of people say that the Wham Bam sheets are good, but BuildTech is also selling PEI sheets now as well. So, no, I really haven't tested a lot of them. I couldn't tell you. Doesn't happen until end of the roll. So, Brian, and you're talking about the Fenda probe on the MMU2, right? Not the one down inside. If it's the Fenda probe, the only thing I can tell you is that the chimney. Maybe adjust your so you're getting towards the end of the roll. The filament's going to be at a higher arc, right? It's going to have a larger bend in it. So you're naturally feeding it in. It's not going to be so straight, but it's going to get even worse towards the end. So the only thing that would trigger that chimney is if the door movement wasn't the same amount, right? So when the filament's straight, maybe it's not landing on the gear exactly where it should be, and it's pushing out the door enough to trigger it. But then as it takes a different path, it falls deeper inside that gear to trigger it. So the first thing that I would check was just make sure that, like, get the smallest Allen wrench that you can find and make sure that those gears are lined up perfect with each other. And you've probably already checked that, but that's the only thing I can think of right off the top of my head. Steve, welcome. This is a 200 micron layer height. The only thing that I really notice, Mapro 6, is there is some ghosting on the upper portion. But you really can't tell that in that camera view, but there is just a bit. Only happens on single color print, MMU prints. I can't think of what that might be. Maybe it's a bug. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. It's just the consistency, the pressure on that door isn't consistent. That's the only thing I can think of. This is the same as Prusa. It's the Prusa. It's the Ultimate Machine Einstein board that Prusa uses. I got it from Printed Solid. Actually, I am super late for dinner. Yeah, Thingiverse has definitely made some changes. Not having much luck with it so far. Thomas, yes, they do have a drop-in Prusa board. I've heard that there's a few things that they still need to fix, but yes, they do have one. Yes, you have to be Andy. You have to be a Prusa customer to be able to buy replacement parts from them. That's the real sticky part of this whole build, and I hope to help everyone get around it somewhat by buying from other people. But we will see after I complete that build of materials. Bill, are you talking about the so on the stock MMU2 hat that goes on the printer has a I think it's like a 5 millimeter coupler or something like that. But then you can switch over to the pass through 10 millimeter one. Is that the one you're talking about? Because if that is, yes, I had a lot more luck after I switched to that pass through model. Welcome back. Yep. Yes, I agree, Bill. That has saved me a lot of headache. Which part? See if I can find it. Everything is so slow. Maybe there's one on Prusa printers. I don't see it. Yeah, I'll see what I can do about getting that done this weekend, Brandon. I'll see. I'll make an attempt, and I'll make the link available as I'm working on it, so you don't have to wait for me to get the whole thing done. So you can kind of watch my progress live. I need to just take the whole printer upstairs to my desk and inventory the whole thing as I type. There's one for the Bondtech extruder. I thought it was already supposed to be launched by now. So I don't know. Well, I can't find the one part that you would actually need because Thingiverse is too slow. So you might have to wait on Thingiverse. Is it worth it? I don't know if it's worth to make a Mark III clone out of wood, but it sure is a good time. They print fairly well. Maybe they did want to release it at Merv. I don't know. That's a good point. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get you some super awesome pictures of this print because it is so orange. But we'll do our best. Nope, I love orange. And this printer has a lot of it. I really can't tell Macro 6. I do want to do some sort of comparison. I would say it's about the same as the regular Mark III. But this table, probably amplifies it a bit. When it's over there running on the shelf, everything's padded and they run quieter. So I don't know. I'm definitely going to compare it, though. What part? Well, I got a lot of black parts, too. It's like Halloween. Electric Halloween. Lenny, that's the plan. We're going to do another stream for the Super Custom Bear. But then, by that time, I will have a list of parts that I need. So it will be much better, much easier to source everything all ahead of time. I would love to have orange textured sheets. I think that would be awesome. Robbie Mack is here. What's up? So you posted those comments, and I totally agree. I mean, yes. So you have you've got 20 micron off on one side, and then you've got 170 micron and 400 micron. Is it really consistent? Like, can you do it over and over and over? Because those are some pretty tight tolerances for a lot of 3D printers. That could be a pretty small tweak to make that much of a difference. Any other recommendations for the MMU2S? There are a few extruder parts out there in the community. I don't have links to them at the moment that actually make it a little bit easier to feed the extruder from the MMU2. I would have to find you some links to those parts. I believe Prusa was working on another model of the extruder body to help with that too. I don't know where that's at, but there are a few little things here and there that make it easier. I like the removable PTFE holder on the back. It allows you to use couplers. That seems to make the transition of the filament through the MMU2 quite a bit easier, and it's easier to pull it apart if you need to. Outside of that, I think they're coming out with a new selector too that might make things a little easier. So there's a few parts here and there. Thousands of test prints. John from You Dude is here. Welcome, John. Everybody likes a good benchy print. Dimitri from Finland, thank you for joining at such a late hour. I have never tried to clone MMU2. There's been a lot of talk about that, but I've never even looked into it. Almost done. Working on the chimney. Mapper06 is the cloniest of MK3 users, Mark III users that I know of. He's got some pretty nice clones out there. It looks really good. I'm not quite sure yet, Andy. We will see. Don't think you've ever watched a whole Benchy print on YouTube. I have watched many whole Benchy prints. Only with Chris. Thank you. Somebody wandered onto this stream right now, they'd be like, why are we watching this? Oh, if they only knew. If they only knew. Right on, Thomas. Half the Benchy prints on, yeah, you're probably right. At least a couple hundred of them. Oh, look how that framed that. I couldn't have planned that better if I would have tried. That was pretty impressive. Let's turn down the funk on that a little bit. See if you can actually see it from there. So we did turn it up to 150% speed. Let's get the printer out of the way so we can get a little less glare off of that. Like I said, there's a little bit of added noise from when we turn the speed up, but not as bad as I would have thought. So yeah, so you can see right there on the front corner, there's just a little bit of orange peel in here. See that? That's not real uncommon, but you don't see that on the regular printers. But again, I think that was because of the speed bump. But you see right there on the cabin, that's a pretty common trouble area. There you go. There you can see the ghosting real good on the camera right there. Corner looks pretty good. That's another trouble spot. That's usually where it puts a lot of the seams right there. You can almost read that 3D Benchy license plate there. The other side looks pretty good. Cabin and everything. Again, there's some of that ringing there on the same spot. See if we can get the color cooled down just a little. It's really, really bright orange, so we're not going to be able to do a whole lot with this. There you go. Overhang looks real good. It's nice and sharp. Bridge don't look too bad right there in front. Tops look nice. Chimney's nice and round. It's not squished at all. You can see the seams on the top of the chimney there, but that's pretty usual. You can see what I was saying before. There's lots of squish on that. There's even just a little bit of curl there. I think we have just a little bit more air running around that hot end than we normally would see. But we're going to have to test that. We're going to take a test on that one. So there she is. Third time's a charm. There we go. So it has Benchy's mad. I didn't want social distancing. It has been a long week. We have done a whole lot of building. I appreciate everybody that came to the streams. They are going to be there if you want to go back and watch any of them. I am going to do my best to get that building materials out to everybody so that you know exactly what this cost and what it took to get all the parts sourced and where you have to get them. So that'll be good. We did have a little bit of trouble at the beginning of this one. That's still some of it a question for me, what actually made that happen. So I'm going to do some testing with that, and I will get back with you on the results. I will probably do a video on kind of a recap of the bear, just to kind of sum up all the stuff that we did. So be on the lookout for that one. But as of right now, this is it for the Orange Juicsa build. We have done it. You will be seeing it in many more videos coming up, I'm sure. And I'm going to go have some dinner, but I appreciate everyone that came to the stream. You are awesome. Came to all the streams. I wanted to get this done by the end of this week, and we totally did it. So congrats, everybody. Thanks, everybody. We will see you again very, very shortly. I am going to start another build here pretty soon. So definitely be on the lookout for live streams for those. And until then, so long.